Alright everyone, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video here as we drove US-95 from Winnemucca to McDermitt, Nevada/Oregon. And with this video now dropping here on YouTube, this is actually going to conclude our series here along US-95 in Nevada. And it's hard to believe, but we've actually showcased every single mile of US-95 in Nevada here on YouTube, and what an incredible journey it's been. So let's just do a little bit of an overview about our journey here along US-95 here in Nevada. Obviously, our journey began all the way back down there at the California-Nevada border, just west of Laughlin, Nevada, and then we drove all the way up to Boulder City during a solar eclipse, believe it or not. And then after Boulder City, you basically just drive through the greater Las Vegas region there, which is just signed there along Interstate 11, so US-95 really kind of takes a back seat there to the interstates there in Las Vegas. And then once you leave Las Vegas, it's just a straight shot north, and then you're pretty much in the middle of nowhere for almost the entirety of US-95 through northern and central Nevada. US-95 does not pass through a lot of populated areas once it leaves Las Vegas, and that is very evident once you just leave the Las Vegas metropolitan area there, and then it's just nothing but open desert for miles on end. And then not too far north of Las Vegas, you finally leave behind the Mojave Desert, and then you drive up in elevation there as you eventually cross into the Great Basin Desert, and you have fully transitioned in both the Great Basin and the Great Basin Desert. They are two totally different things once you get up towards Beatty, Nevada. And then once you leave Beatty, it is 100 miles without gas basically until you get to Tonopah. You pass through the small mining town of Goldfield, but there are no services in Goldfield. You have to drive all the way to Tonopah to get some more services there, like food, gas, and hotels. And then once you get north from Tonopah, you meet US 6, and then it's another 100 miles without gas stations until you get up to Hawthorne up there along US 95, about the halfway point through Nevada. And obviously, as you keep going north there along US 95, you're going to pass by the very beautiful and underrated Walker Lake. And then as you keep driving north, you're finally going to be up towards Fallon, Nevada, which is by far the largest city that you're going to pass through in almost 400 miles since you have left Las Vegas. And then once you leave Fallon, Nevada, you just head north there until US 95 meets I-80, and then it follows I-80 for about 93 miles there until it reaches Winnemucca, which is also the second largest town up there in northern Nevada along US 95. And then US 95 finally leaves Winnemucca, Nevada, and then heads up north towards Oregon and Idaho. And as you can see from this video, there really is not that much here along US 95 as it leaves Winnemucca, Nevada. In fact, this particular stretch of US 95 from Winnemucca, Nevada, all the way up to the greater Treasure Valley region just outside of Boise there in Idaho, is one of the most remote drives in the western United States. So let's put this into perspective. It is roughly 250 miles from Winnemucca, Nevada up to the Boise region up there in Idaho. So US 95 actually does not go to Boise itself. It actually skirts to the west of Boise, about 30 miles west of the city, and just kind of follows like the Snake River there near the Idaho-Oregon border. But it does stay within the proximity of the Boise metropolitan area, and there are plenty of roads you can access there once you get into Idaho there along US 95 that will take you to Boise itself. But like I said, this particular stretch here just north of Winnemucca, this 250-mile stretch in northern Nevada, southeastern Oregon, and southwestern Idaho is one of the most remote stretches of road here in the western United States. So US 95 in this 250-mile stretch between northern Nevada and southwestern Idaho serves approximately 700 people in that 250-mile stretch, which is just absolutely absurd if you ask me. And just really goes to show how unpopulated and rural this area of the United States is. Now, to Nevada's credit, there's actually a pretty good stretch here where you don't have to go too far without gas stations between Winnemucca and McDermitt. I believe the farthest you have to go is that stretch between Orovada and McDermitt, which is roughly 30 miles, give or take, without gas stations. But once you get to McDermitt, you better make sure you have at least 3/4 of a tank of gas, because you are basically not going to have any gas stations for about 100 miles until you get to Jordan Valley, Oregon. Now, there is like one gas station in the very small community of Rome, Oregon, but that gas station is not very reliable, and from what I hear and see, it only has one gas pump and one diesel pump. So do not expect that gas station to have gas. or services, and Jordan Valley, Oregon has 130 people, which is about the same as McDermitt there on the Nevada-Oregon border. So if you're going to be driving this stretch between Winnemucca and the greater Boise region in Idaho, you better have a full tank of gas before you leave Winnemucca. I'm just going to say that right now because this area is very remote and it should not be taken lightly whatsoever. But we will explore more of this region as we continue north in the next video here along US-95, because believe it or not, even though the series has been focused here along US-95 in Nevada, we're going to be continuing the journey just a little bit farther north here in this series, believe it or not, and showcasing a little bit more of what US-95 is like as we continue north. So as this series of along US-95 in Nevada concludes here on YouTube, I want you guys to do me a big favor and comment down below what your favorite stretch of US-95 in Nevada is. I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this entire series, and just what your favorite video or what your favorite stretch of US-95 in Nevada is personally. My personal favorite stretch of US-95 in Nevada is that stretch there near Hawthorne as you come into the city of Hawthorne, where you just have those amazing views of Mount Grant there as you come into the city of Hawthorne. And then just north of Hawthorne there, when you pass by Walker Lake, that scenery is extremely underrated in my opinion, and just really showcases the true beauty of Nevada. I know Nevada is not a state on a lot of people's mind when they think of beauty and just like very awesome scenery, but trust me, Nevada is really a beautiful state, and US-95 just basically gives you a run-of-the-mill type of experience that you would basically get like just driving on any normal road in Nevada, if that makes sense. Like if there's any type of road that you want to drive in Nevada that gives you like a full taste of what the state of Nevada is like, US-95 is perhaps the best candidate for that, because you get like a lot of the rural areas of Nevada like the ones we passed through in this video, but it also passes through Las Vegas if you just want to experience what the drive is like in Las Vegas. And then it also gives you like access towards the greater Reno area as well. US-95 does not go to Reno, but it takes you in the direction that you need to go to get to Reno, just like how it does when you need to go to Boise, Idaho, basically. So yeah, just please do me a favor, folks, in the comment section down below here in this video. Just let me know what your favorite stretch of US-95 in Nevada is. I mean, we just experienced the entirety of US-95 here in Nevada, and it was really a fun driving experience, and I would highly recommend it to anyone that just wants a taste of adventure. You get both the city life there in Las Vegas, and you also get the best of what rural northern Nevada has to offer. So I really hope you all enjoyed this series, and now it's just time for the plugs. Alright everyone, I just want to give a shout out to all my social media accounts that you see on the screen here, because I really am trying to grow my social media accounts beyond just here on YouTube. I would really appreciate it if you guys would check out my Instagram. I'm really trying to grow that social media platform, so I would really appreciate it if you guys would follow me on there. My username is just InterstateKyle. What's really cool about my Instagram is if I'm on a road trip, I will post on my story of where I am and what I'm doing, so it's just a really cool way for you guys to follow along with me in real time to see what I'm doing and what I'm up to. I know my videos on here can get pretty dated very quickly, so if you guys want to see what I'm doing in real time, I highly recommend checking out my Instagram, and I would really appreciate your support over there. You guys can also check out my Facebook group and my Twitter/X account. The links to all those are down in the description. Another thing I want to give a shout out to is my Patreon, which is a way for you guys to support me beyond YouTube here. If you guys want to join my Patreon, you guys can get special perks for joining, like watching all of my videos early before they are released here on YouTube. And all the money I make on there goes right back into this YouTube channel to keep producing more of these types of videos in the future. The link to my Patreon is also down in the description, so if you really want to check it out, I would really appreciate your extra support over there as well. And another thing that is set up on my channel is Super Thanks, which is located to the right of where you would normally like one of my videos. What that basically is just a way for you guys to tip me out for each video going forward if you feel that I've earned it, of course. And then all the money on there also goes right back to this channel to keep producing more of these types of videos in the future. And with all that said, folks, I really hope you all enjoyed this video here along US-95 between Winnemucca and McDermitt, Nevada/Oregon. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all have an amazing day, and take care everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to the next adventure, and we will see you next time.